interfered with our affairs for the last time.
Tonight.
I am literally in the air right now, wrapping up a store. This first class, I am so new at this.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Mars back with another Clash Royale video. And in this video, I have a very in-depth guide for classic log bait. That's right, guys. If you're looking for how to play classic log bait, I've got over 20 tips in this video. We're going to be following along here with two different matchups, E-Giant and a minor wall breakers deck, so you get some tips for beatdown and cycle decks, and here we go. All right, so following along this matchup here, we have a Dark Prince coming down. I log it right away because there's not that many decks out there that have Dark Prince and log bait, and you really want to focus on early damage with log bait. Also, you want to focus on keeping your towers pristine, so I use that knight there to block for the Dark Prince. You don't want to take any damage that you don't have to take, especially in the beginning. Third tip is that goblin barrel placement right there. You see he went for a tornado and it missed right there, and yeah, we got so much damage just because of that placement. He wasn't able to get king activated. My fourth tip is to try to keep some extra elixir. Sometimes a log does well for the queen, because if they go queen's ability and you're not ready for it, you can lose a tower pretty fast. Tip number 5 is that you got to count their cycle if you can. I went goblin barrel on his tower right there, and he didn't have tornado that time for it. Just by following those goblin barrel tips, I've been able to get almost half of his tower already, placing the first goblin barrel away from the corner. Another tip right here is to use the log just like that on the goblin brawler or any other troop that's coming across, so that it hits their tower and helps you play defense at the same time. And then another tip right here is that if you're gonna predict that they use the queen's ability, rocketing a queen is not necessarily an overcommitment, because the queen is 5 elixir, but it's the 6th elixir that needs for the queen's ability. So I rocketed that queen right there, and as you can see, I'm not really down any elixir here. But getting into double elixir, again, you see that defensive log cycle right there. But another tip right here is going to be to cycle the Inferno Tower early when they go in for an E-Giant. Not like right after they go in for the E-Giant, but just after they place it, you know, a few seconds later, you can go in for your Inferno, because then I went with a Goblin Barrel, Ice Spirit, Princess, and Knight, and I'm able to get back to another Inferno here, and that is a great way to defend E-Giant or Golem, is to get back to a second Inferno Tower. All right, so now we are just watching here for a second. We have the Princess taking out that Archer Queen, but as you can see, he's getting a little bit closer in this game. He goes Bomber right there. I'm going Knight in the back, and I'm expecting him to go E-Giant in this left lane again, so I'm just cycling a Knight in that lane to play some defense, cycling back around, and this time I opt to not play the Inferno Tower early. I feel like you have to either choose one. You can play an Inferno Tower early with the intent of getting back to a second one, or you can wait until the E-Giant is crossing the bridge basically, and then play your Inferno, and that's what I do here. As you can see, I'm playing the Inferno Tower here right as the E-Giant crosses, and then I go Ice Spirit, and since he was playing a Queen and a Dark Prince at that time, he didn't have enough elixir to lightning that, and I'm able to get a Goblin Gang down right there to block for the Queen's ability, but she still gets 2 more hits right there, so this game's getting pretty close, guys. All right, we're getting close to triple elixir. I use a Goblin Barrel placement over there, but he's able to tornado it away, and because he got King activated, I didn't get any damage, but we're at 110 here, and this is my first rocket cycle of the game. Now I'm definitely down elixir, and here you're gonna see how to get away with that. One of the reasons I get away with this is because it was almost triple elixir when I decided to rocket. And then another tip here is that if you have an E-Giant coming to your tower and you have no other choice, sometimes you have to rocket it like this. As you can see, he gets some damage there, but he doesn't take my tower or anything. Log saves it right there. His queen locks on, but we save it with the Goblin Gang right there. My final tip for this first matchup is to know your rocket and log damage. So he's at 794, but I can't just rocket that because it wouldn't take it. Now the Goblin Barrel took it below 591, which is the level 14 rocket, and we were able to win that close game against E-Giant. All right, I know that was a lot of tips. I think it was about 12 tips for that first game, but let's get into the second game here, which is a cycle matchup against minor wall breakers. Again, I'm following that Goblin Barrel placement, and I had to just place a quick Princess there. to only counter one wall breaker, and he did go for a tornado there, so it's another tornado matchup. You really want to make sure you don't give them king tower, at least not early in the game. It's okay if they have king tower activated once you get to like double elixir, but you want to avoid giving that to them as late as you can. And here I don't log these spear gobs because I know he has wall breakers, and a lot of times you want to save your log for their wall breakers. But I'm going to be showing you a couple ways to counter the wall breakers here. One tip I want to mention quickly is this Inferno Tower placement right there counters the magic archer. But as you can see, he goes Valk with the wall breakers here, and I go Ice Spirit and Log. As long as you make sure the Ice Spirit jumps on those wall breakers, then the Log will finish them off. And yeah, another tip I would have here is you see these spear gobs at the bridge. Sometimes if you don't react fast enough, it's okay to just save elixir and let them get the damage. But in cycle matchups like this especially, you want to try to limit their damage as much as you can in single elixir. Whether it's a cycle matchup or really any matchup here with classic log bait, you want to limit their damage. There's another defensive log cycle there where I hit his tower and then use a knight to prevent that Valkyrie from hitting. This miner, I don't think it was worth to spend elixir on because 2 towers were shooting it. But as you can see, I cycle back quickly to that goblin barrel here, and with that Ice Spirit play at the bridge right there, that's a play I love doing. We were able to get some good damage there with that goblin barrel. And now here we get into double elixir. This is when you want to start looking for rockets, and the only times I would really rocket is if they play at least 4 elixir behind their tower that you can hit, or if they play their defensive building, you can rocket in double elixir. You can just rocket the tower and not spend anything on their defensive building. Here he goes minor wall breakers. I go Goblin Gang, Ice Spirit, and Log. Usually you can cycle back to at least Ice Spirit or Log if you're playing against wall breakers here. Here I go with a Goblin Barrel, and I think we're getting close to the time where I actually start rocket cycling here, guys, because as you can see, with him having Tornado Fireball, it's not that easy for me to get Goblin Barrel damage on his towers. All right, into overtime we go. I go for a Goblin Barrel here. He tornadoes the princess, so then he ends up having to Fireball that, and this is when I realized that he didn't have Log. So in a matchup where you know they don't have Log, you have to keep cycling quickly back to your Goblin Barrels. But here's an example where he goes Bomb Tower. I just decided to rocket his tower and get that 591 damage. Now he's going in Valk with wall breakers, and I get that Ice Spirit to jump on them again. That's a really good way to counter wall breakers, guys, because I was able to cycle all the way back to a Log by doing that, and then no damage was taken from those wall breakers, guys. Now again here, I'm looking for rockets left and right, guys. Any opportunity I can get to rocket, I'm going to try to take that. I know he has to spend at least 3 elixir every time I go for a Goblin Barrel too, so I'm going in for a lot of those. Cycling as many Goblin Barrels as possible, trying to protect the princess here. That's another good tip. Try to protect the princess whenever you can. I wasn't able to do it that time, but he fireballs the Goblin Barrel right there, and he had a bomb tower down, so I honestly could have gotten away with a rocket right there as triple elixir started. But triple elixir is a great time to go for rocket cycle, guys. It's really tough for them to punish 6 elixir. Even if you're just rocketing their tower and literally hitting nothing else, it's usually pretty hard for them to punish. But again, you see that Inferno Tower placement taking out that Magic Archer. Now there's a lot going on here in triple elixir, guys, but we're just going to try to keep up with it. Let's see. He tornadoes the Goblin Barrel away right there, but he's not getting that much damage with his miners. I just want to make sure this Magic Archer doesn't really connect on the left. And again, limiting his damage. I think we go in for one more rocket. Yep, there it is. Rocket Goblin Barrel. Try to hide that Goblin Barrel a little bit in the smoke of the rocket, and that kind of worked that time. But yeah, 13 seconds. I really just had to place this Inferno Tower to make sure that those wall breakers didn't get there. This is a pretty hectic matchup, but following those tips that we talked about in this video, we were able to get enough of a damage lead and take the dub in this minor wall breakers matchup. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's classic log bait guide with 20 tips for classic log bait. A lot of you guys seem to like the 21 tips for Royal Hogs guide that I did a few days ago, so I wanted to make a similar one for classic log bait. If you have any other decks that you want me to try to make a video like this on, I can do my best, but these are some of the decks that I play the most. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching today's classic log bait guide video in Clash Royale. I'll see you guys later today at 1 p.m. for my daily live stream, and in a few days with another Clash Royale video.